Imagine sitting beneath a vast night sky thousands of years ago. Stars shimmer softly above as you gather around a crackling fire. A storyteller begins to speak, their voice steady and warm, spinning tales of mighty gods, daring heroes, and mysterious creatures, stories that feel both distant and oddly familiar. This is how Greek mythology began. Tales passed down from generation to generation, helping people make sense of the world around them. These myths weren't just entertainment. They carried lessons about life, love, courage, and what it truly means to be human. Over time, they became deeply woven into the way people understood themselves and their place in the universe. In these timeless stories, gods dwelled atop mighty Mount Olympus, heroes embarked on impossible quests, and ordinary individuals faced extraordinary trials. The ancient Greeks used these tales to explain the world, from thunderbolts hurled by Zeus to the changing seasons marked by Persephone's descent into the underworld. But beyond their explanations, these myths served as guides. They offered wisdom about fate, bravery, humility, and the complexities of the human heart. And while the world has changed, the echoes of these stories still surround us today. When we mention someone's Achilles heel or describe a task as Herculean, we're referencing these ancient legends, often without even realizing it. Greek mythology has left a subtle yet powerful imprint on our language, literature, psychology, and pop culture. In this video, we'll journey through the rich and fascinating world of Greek myths, from the creation of the universe to the heroic feats of gods and mortals alike. You'll meet Zeus, the mighty king of the gods, Athena, the wise goddess of strategy, Poseidon, ruler of the seas, and heroes like the strong Heracles, clever Odysseus, and fearless Achilles. We'll explore epic quests, tragic love stories, thrilling battles, and quiet moments of reflection that still resonate across the ages. There's no need to watch the screen. Think of this as a relaxed storytelling session, perfect for winding down, working in the background, or simply letting your imagination wander. Get comfortable, grab a snack, and let these ancient tales carry you away. So gather around the fire, figuratively, and join us on a journey into a world of mystery, adventure, and timeless insight. By the end, you'll have traveled through the heart of Greek mythology and discovered why these stories still speak to us, even thousands of years after they were first told. Let's begin. Long before the first sunrise lit the sky, before the first wave kissed any shore, there was only chaos. But not the chaos we imagine today. No destruction, no noise, no confusion. Just a silent, boundless void, stretching into endless darkness. Now picture yourself back then, sitting by a quiet campfire as an elder begins this tale, the first of all tales. Their voice is low and steady as they speak of the beginning. From this vast emptiness, something miraculous stirred. Out of the silence came the first great being, Gaia, the Earth Mother. She was immense, powerful, and alive in every sense. Gaia wasn't just the land beneath our feet. She was the earth, both spirit and form. As Gaia awakened, mountains rose from her body, valleys spread wide, and the foundation of the world took shape. She became the living ground upon which all life would someday walk, patiently waiting for what was yet to come. But she wasn't alone for long. From deep within the darkness, another presence quietly emerged. Before any canyon split the earth, or any cave was carved into stone, there emerged a place unlike any other, Tartarus. It was a realm so remote, so utterly dark, that it lay deep beneath the earth, far beyond the reach of light or life. Tartarus was a shadowy abyss, hidden from sight and forever separate from the surface world. To the ancient Greeks, its depths were unimaginable, its darkness complete. One day, Tartarus would become a prison for mighty beings. But in these early moments of creation, it simply was. silent, unseen, and waiting. Yet Gaia, Earth herself, was still filled with the desire to shape and bring forth more. From her own essence, she gave birth to Uranus, the sky. He stretched, himself wide above her, unfolding endlessly, a vast dome of space and silence. Imagine it, the very first sky, opening up for the first time, immense, tranquil, and filled with quiet wonder. Uranus wrapped Gaia in his embrace, arching over her as a canopy of stars, moonlight, and night. Earth and sky, Gaia and Uranus, were forever joined, partners in creation, yet always distinct and apart. Still, Gaia's creativity had not run dry. Without a partner, she brought forth yet another being, Pontus, the sea. Waters began to flow across her surface, spreading slowly and silently. The oceans emerged, wide and deep, meeting the sky at a horizon neither could cross. Pontus represented the great unknown, the rolling eternal sea. His presence balanced Gaia's land, ensuring that Earth was not only solid and steady, but also fluid, vast, and full of mystery. Let's pause here and picture these primal forces as the Greeks once did. Gaia, the earth, steady, nurturing, and patient beneath your feet. Uranus, the sky, expansive and serene, stretching above with infinite stars. Pontus, the sea, powerful and calm, surrounding all in its deep blue embrace. Tartarus, the abyss, silent and unfathomable, hidden, far below, beyond reach. These weren't gods as we often imagine, clad in robes, living on mountaintops, and interfering in human affairs. No, these were ancient, elemental powers. They shaped reality itself. They didn't rule the world. They were the world. Each held dominion over a distinct realm. Gaia, the ground where all life would grow. Uranus, the sky of stars and celestial mysteries. Pontus, the ocean that flowed endlessly. Tartarus, the darkness that hid forgotten truths. Together they brought form and balance to the formless void of chaos. They gave shape to existence. And so, as we sit around this imaginary fire, listening to these tales passed down over millennia, we begin to understand why the ancient Greeks found meaning, comfort, and awe in them. Through these stories, they explained the very foundations of their world. The earth they walked on, the sky above, the seas that sustained them, and the mysteries forever just out of reach. Beneath a sky now shimmering with stars, we sit by the campfire in quiet awe, imagining these ancient beings and what it might have felt like to witness the birth of the world. A moment of silence lingers as the fire crackles softly. This is just the beginning. Countless stories remain, but the tale of how the world first emerged, slowly and silently, from chaos, will always be among the most powerful and profound ever told. Long after Gaia, Uranus, Pontus, and Tartarus arose from the void, a new generation stepped into existence. The Titans, mighty beings born from Gaia and Uranus, destined to rule the early cosmos. Together, Gaia and Uranus gave life to 12 powerful children. Each Titan embodied a fundamental force or principle of the universe, shaping the world with their immense presence. Oceanus, the eldest, represented the vast river that circled the earth. His endless waters flowed quietly around the world, nourishing all they touched. Hyperion, the radiant Titan of light, brought warmth through the sun, calm through the moon, and promise through the dawn. Coeus, keeper of celestial knowledge, watched over the secrets of the stars and heavens. His brother Creus governed the movement of the skies, bringing order and rhythm to the constellations. Iapetus stood for mortal life and its struggles, an eternal reminder of the strength, pain, and perseverance of humanity. Among them was Cronus, the youngest, whose silent strength and boundless ambition would one day alter the fate of gods and mortals alike. Beside Cronus stood Rhea, nurturing and powerful, the embodiment of motherhood, birth, and life's continuity. Others shaped the world in more subtle ways. Themis, wise and just, carried divine law and moral order. Mnemosyne, guardian of memory, preserved all knowledge and stories, ensuring the past would never be forgotten. Tethys, Oceanus's companion, nurtured springs, rivers, and streams, breathing life into the land. Theia, whose brilliance made gold gleam and gemstones sparkle, revealed the hidden beauty of the natural world. Phoebe, a beacon of prophetic insight, illuminated the minds of gods and mortals with truths beyond time. Yet among these siblings, one stood apart, Cronus, whose fate was darker, deeper, and more complex than the rest. While most Titans ruled peacefully over their realms, his path would lead to conflict, betrayal, and the rise of a new order. As the Titans grew in power and presence, Uranus, their father and ruler of the cosmos, watched with increasing unease. His gaze, once proud, turned cold and fearful. Each of his children was mighty, too mighty. To the sky god, their strength was a threat. Consumed by dread, Uranus sought to suppress their potential. He cast some of Gaia's other children, the monstrous yet gifted Cyclopes, known for their single, all-seeing eye and remarkable craftsmanship, and the terrifying Hecatoncheires, towering beings with 50 heads and 100 powerful arms, deep into Tartarus, the shadowy abyss. This cruel act shattered Gaia's heart. Her children, buried within her very depths, cried out in suffering, and she felt their pain echo within her. Day by day, her sorrow grew heavier, until it began to harden into something else. Resolve. Determined to end Uranus's tyranny, Gaia secretly crafted a weapon, a sickle of pure adamant, sharper and stronger than anything known, able to cut through even the divine. With this sacred blade in hand, she turned to her Titan children, pleading with them to rise against their father and free their imprisoned siblings. But one by one, the Titans refused, intimidated by Uranus's overwhelming power. Only Cronus, the youngest and boldest, stepped forward. He accepted the sickle with quiet determination, knowing the risks and the responsibility. He waited in silence for the moment of fate. When Uranus next descended to lie with Gaia, covering the earth as he always had, Cronus lay in wait, hidden in the shadows. As Uranus stretched across the land, Cronus struck, swift, precise, and unflinching. With the adamant sickle, he wounded his father deeply. The reign of Uranus ended in a single decisive blow. As Uranus recoiled in agony, he cast a curse upon Cronus. One day, the same fate would await him. A child of his own would betray him, just as he had done. But Cronus, bathed in the glow of triumph, ignored the warning. With Uranus fallen, Cronus seized control of the cosmos. His rule ushered in a new era, the Golden Age, a time of peace, balance, and abundance. Under his leadership, the world thrived. The earth gave generously. Crops grew without effort. Rivers flowed steadily. There was no war, no hunger, no toil. Cronus ruled with authority, yet restraint. By his side stood Rhea, his sister and queen, whose nurturing spirit brought warmth and life to the world. Together, they presided over a peaceful cosmos where harmony reigned. But though the world was quiet, the shadow of Uranus's curse still lingered, unspoken, but never forgotten. Though Cronus ruled with authority, an undercurrent of paranoia clouded his mind, driven by the ominous words of his father's curse. Each passing day, the prophecy gnawed at him, whispering that one of his children would one day overthrow him, just as he had done to Uranus. His reign, though powerful, was filled with constant fear. As Rhea gave birth to each of their children, Hestia, Demeter, Hera, Hades, and Poseidon. Cronus's anxiety grew. Unable to escape the dark weight of his father's prophecy, he grew increasingly suspicious. His paranoia led him to seize each newborn, and without a second thought, swallow them whole. Each child was trapped inside him, a prisoner of his own making, lost in the dark abyss of his belly. Rhea, devastated by the disappearance of her children, could do nothing but watch in silent grief as her newborns vanished one by one. But when she found herself pregnant once more, something within her changed. She would not let this one be swallowed by Cronus, not without a fight. As the time for the child's birth drew near, Rhea made a daring decision. Secretly, she traveled far from Cronus's watchful eyes, to the distant island of Crete. There, in a quiet cave tucked away in the shadows of towering cliffs, she gave birth to a son, Zeus. With her child safe, Rhea devised a clever ruse. She wrapped a smooth, heavy stone in swaddling clothes, and returning to Cronus, presented it as their newborn child. Blinded by his growing fear and distrust, Cronus swallowed the stone without hesitation, believing he had once again outsmarted the prophecy. Satisfied that he had protected his rule, he never suspected that Zeus, the child who would one day dethrone him, was alive and well. Meanwhile, on the rugged slopes of Mount Ida in Crete, Zeus was hidden far from Cronus's reach. Raised by Amalthea, a gentle goat who nourished him with her milk, the infant god grew strong and vibrant. Amalthea's care became legendary, and even after her horn was broken, it became a symbol of abundance and prosperity, the cornucopia, a reminder of the nurturing power that had sustained Zeus in his earliest days. But Amalthea was not Zeus's only protector. A group of fierce warriors, known as the Curetes, took on the sacred duty of guarding him. Whenever Zeus cried, the Curetes would clash their weapons, banging their swords against their bronze shields, creating a cacophony of sound that echoed through the mountains. To an outsider, it appeared to be nothing more than military drills, but in truth, it was a carefully orchestrated effort to mask the infant god's cries from Cronus's ears. This constant clashing of metal was the sound of Zeus's safety, a protective veil of noise ensuring that the future king of the gods remained hidden from the paranoid eyes of his father. The infant's cries, masked by the relentless clashing of bronze, remained unheard by Cronus. Thanks to the Curete's vigilance, the hidden god was shielded from his father's growing paranoia. Zeus, nurtured in secrecy, thrived. As the years passed, the helpless infant grew into a formidable young god. The wild, untamed wilderness of Crete became his teacher. Among the steep cliffs and dense forests, Zeus honed both body and mind. He ran tirelessly through the trees, scaled jagged rocks, and learned to read the rhythms of nature. He watched the gathering of clouds, studied the flight of birds, and listened to the wind rustling through the mountain pines. Even in his youth, there was something commanding about him, a presence that hinted at his destiny to rule the skies. But Zeus's ambitions stretched beyond mastery of the elements. He had not forgotten his siblings, Hestia, Demeter, Hera, Hades, and Poseidon, each swallowed by their father, lost in darkness. He knew that brute strength alone would not be enough to defeat Cronus, whose power was immense, and whose mind remained sharp with suspicion. Zeus needed more than force. He needed strategy. To find it, he turned to the wise Titaness Metis, renowned across the cosmos for her intelligence, cunning, and deep understanding of divine lore. Metis, recognizing the greatness in Zeus, became his confidant and mentor. She believed in his cause, and together they crafted a plan, a bold but carefully measured path to justice. With her mastery of herbs and ancient potions, Metis created a powerful elixir, a concoction unlike any before. It held within it the magic to undo Cronus's unnatural deeds, to force him to release the gods he had swallowed, restoring them to life and strength. To carry out their plan, Zeus adopted a clever disguise. No longer the wild child of the mountains, he took on the humble appearance of a cupbearer, a servant in Cronus's court. With quiet confidence and hidden intent, he approached the father he had never known, bearing drink and deference. And within one of those goblets, laced among the wine, lay Metis's potion, the key to the downfall of the Titan king.